Hey, Andrew.
What's going on, Aaron?
Not much. Just enjoying Wednesday.
Uh, I appreciate you guys having me on today. I really do.
Well, thanks for coming.
So, obviously, I mean, you need no introduction. I mean, you're the CEO and lead developer of Money, and I just want to introduce myself. My name's Andrew Collier, and it's an honor and a privilege to be able to have this AMA with you today. And I'm really excited to really learn more about you and the project that you guys have going on over there, and everything that you guys got going on.
Excellent. Well, let's get right into it.
Yeah, perfect. So the first question I have for you is like, how long ago and how did you get into the crypto world? Like, tell me how that all started, the evolution.
So I first heard about crypto, right around the first couple years of Bitcoin being around, and it didn't really excite me back then. I have a history in programming, entrepreneurship, a lot of finance too. Like I really enjoyed stocks and options, different strategies with options. So I really like the finance side of things. I really like programming, but Bitcoin by itself didn't really excite me when I first learned about it. But when I learned about Ethereum and smart contracts, that's when it kind of merged like all these worlds of these different things that I really enjoyed and I thrived at really, and it kind of brought it all together into one. And that's kind of I was just addicted as soon as I learned about smart contracts and what you could do with them, and it was just game over from there. I just all in, right? I just started learning and deploying my first token, and that was a disaster at first until I learned what I was doing. But
So you've been in
that's
the space a while.
not that long. I mean, it's coming up to almost a year now, so really not that long at all.
Okay,
But
all
I
right.
quick learner though, and when I they say everything's good in moderation, but that's not really how I operate. I just, I'm in or I'm out, right? In crypto,
Going full
I'm all
speed.
in. Yeah.
No, that's awesome. I'm very similar. I kind of started off in the personal finance space and stocks, and crypto has a place in my heart, and it's where I've been focusing a lot of my channel and efforts and investments lately. So, talk to me a little bit about the roadmap and what's going on, kind of ahead with Bomb Money and what you guys are working on, and tell me a little bit about that.
So our main focus really is on our user interfaces because I probably sound like a broken record because I've been saying this so often, but we really need to have our target audience be a lot wider than what it is right now. Right now, really you have to kind of know about Tomb and how Tomb works, and to really understand our protocol, just because our website's very similar. So we know that there's a lot of problems with when a new user visits our site. If they're not familiar with Tomb, they're basically getting lost. They don't know what to do. So that's a huge thing that we're addressing now, and we have a great plan in place. I mentioned it on the Bombshell Monday update that I just posted on Monday. But our main pair, Bomb and BTCB, and the Binance version of Bitcoin, it really is it's such a great pair. Like I truly feel like it's one of the best investments in the world right now. Like it's paying 0.5% daily APR, on such a stable pair that, you can throw in our auto compounder and have your Bitcoin bags just grow constantly while you sleep. Just, you don't have to do anything, and you keep accumulating more and more Bitcoin. It's a very safe crypto. It's a crypto that everybody knows, and it's, just the safety of that pair combined with the APR. I think it's second to none really. Right. And
I would agree with you.
yeah. So having said that, our challenge now is how do we get this investment and make it so it's accessible to everybody, right? And we have a great plan in place. We're going to actually offer a single staking for Bitcoin and also for Bomb, and we're also, in addition to having the pair, so we're going to give users even something simpler. So if they don't understand what a liquidity pool is, what a pair is, how to farm a pair, like we're going to have an even simpler option that's not going to pay quite as much, but single asset staking, that's simple, right?
I
You
think
buy
that
Bomb,
is
you put it in.
huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's as far as scalability and growth, and we talked about, beforehand, it's got to be simple to use and simple to scale. And one of the big things on my channel that I always try to talk about and educate is simplifying the technology and the terminology. So explain to me, kind of in the simplest terms. So what you guys are doing with the new UI.
Okay. So right from the very beginning, everything's designed around simplicity. Like as if somebody has never, used crypto in their life. They've never invested in crypto, right? So we're going to have, very simple and basic stats to show you how much you can earn. We're going to have fiat on ramps. We're going to have the buying assets is going to be right on the UI. So you never have to leave our website. Then, we're going to kind of have it like I'm not sure exactly how we're going to label it, but it's going to be almost like easy, medium, and advanced or something like that, or, or low risk, medium, higher risk. And like the easiest one is going to be just the single asset staking. You buy BTCB, you throw it in, you earn an APR. It just grows. Same thing with bomb. You buy bomb, you deposit it, and you just watch it grow. Right. So
I think that makes a ton of sense.
yeah, and that's going to open up a lot more doors for the core protocol as well, having single asset staking, um, which is going to be like the more advanced options that we're going to have. But essentially, what we want to do is we want to have make it so that someone that's new to crypto, they can get in, they can start earning with the single asset staking. And then when they want to learn more, they can learn about what a liquidity pair is and how to, provide liquidity. And we're going to have all that on the site. So it's going to be really easy to use still. But, I guess for someone to wrap their head around, okay, I'm pairing two assets together and, staking that and farming that, it's a little bit more to understand than just, okay, I just deposit BTCB and it grows, right? That's just as simple as it gets. So
For
we
sure.
want to, for someone that's brand new, let's start them there. And, as soon as they're ready to move on to something more advanced, we'll have that available for them. And,
Well, I
that,
think that's exactly it. You get them in on the entry level floor, and as they gain knowledge and experience, you allow them to grow in your platform as well.
yeah. And some of the other advantages that's going to offer for us is, so we just recently launched our Bitcoin mainnet staking so that Bitcoin mainnet users can just send Bitcoin to our Bitcoin mainnet staking service and they can have a position with bomb money. Currently behind the scenes, that's a position with our bomb BTCB pair, because that's, our pair that pays the most and it's the safest. It's the investment that I was just saying is the greatest investment in the world, in my opinion. So that's what that's doing right now. But certain Bitcoin users, they may not want to get into a liquidity pair just because, Bitcoin maxis, they want, if they deposit 5 Bitcoin, they don't want half of that Bitcoin becoming bomb. They just want 5 Bitcoin to always stay as 5 Bitcoin and then grow, daily. So when we have single asset staking on our core protocol, we can now offer that to the BTC mainnet users as well. So we can give them two options. We can say, hey, do you want to make, 150% APR a year, or do you, want to make 50, but the 50% is a true single asset stake, so that regardless of what happens with the core protocol, their 5 Bitcoin is going to always be 5 Bitcoin or higher, right? There's a zero chance that it could drop it. I mean, that the chance of that dropping is very, very minimal with our current offering, but the potential is there. So, we'll have,
Sure.
that's something additional that we'll offer for BTC mainnet stakers.
I think that concept in general is going to allow you guys to attract more users and have more money on your platform. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yep.
There's a lot of stuff going on within the crypto market lately, and obviously a lot of volatility. So talk with me about, in a bear market or a volatile market, how does that affect Bitcoin when it directly relates to bomb money?
Well, this is one of the main reasons that we actually picked Bitcoin as our peg choice. So I'll just explain what that means. So we're an algorithmically pegged stable coin. So we were able to choose, okay, what do we want to peg our main currency bomb to? So, I thought Bitcoin was the best choice for a lot of reasons. Mainly it's the most well-known crypto. It's the safest crypto. You mentioned bear markets. It's the crypto that will drop the least in a bear market. So, you have that protection right there. And, we actually, we're experiencing some negativity in the market. And, I know a lot of our users that got into bomb BTCB, our rewards made up for the downturn in Bitcoin. Like, so they got in at 50,000 Bitcoin, Bitcoin drops to under 40,000, and their position, their net value of their position is equal or greater to what it was before. So now they've accumulated all this extra Bitcoin and bomb that their position's equal, even with the lower Bitcoin price. So when Bitcoin goes back to where it was and higher, they're just in that much better shape because they have so much more assets, right? So it's like when Bitcoin goes back to 50K, they're going to be laughing, right? And
Right.
it's
Yeah.
when it goes back to 50, it's fairly likely it's not going to stop there. It's going to keep going. So
No, I agree. One of the things I've been talking about a lot on my channel is during what we're seeing lately, staking, mining, yield farming. It is the best way to win, no matter what in crypto, whether it's a bull market or a bear market. So, I mean,
yep.
essentially, when they're doing that on your platform, they're buying the dip and creating passive income as well.
Yeah. And some of the best advice I could give is, it's almost human nature that, when you see something that's going up, that's, you want to buy it, you don't want to miss out. And when something's dropping, you're scared it's going to go to zero. So you start, getting out. And it's like, it's really the wrong thing to do in crypto, right? Like it's when things are going down, that's really your opportunity to buy. And when things are going up,
Yep.
that's when maybe you should start shaving your position, and it's kind of the opposite of what human nature kind of like makes you feel like you want to do. But it's, having that discipline to say, hey, Bitcoin's not going to zero, no matter, in the past, a lot of times it's been pretty scary, but it's always recovered, right? So whoever bought those dips, they're the ones that are laughing, right? And the ones that sold the dips, that's rough, right? It's like if you truly believe in the asset, you really don't want to sell the bottom, right? Like it's just
For sure. Yeah. I mean, you want to be a buy and hold investor. I did just see a comment down below. Someone asking, do they need Binance/MetaMask for this? Do you want to answer that?
Yeah, I'll go ahead. So we just launched another service, bombtc.com. So with that, you could actually just sign up on our website. And if you have no past experience in DeFi or you're not familiar with MetaMask, you can just sign up with your email. You can, you can buy Bitcoin right on our site. Or if you have Bitcoin from an exchange, you could just send it directly there. You can start earning right away. So you don't need to be familiar with that stuff. To use our core protocol, you don't necessarily need MetaMask, but you do need some kind of wallet that's Web3 compatible. MetaMask being the most popular on PC and maybe on mobile, I'm not sure. But yeah, you can definitely do
Awesome.
it all from bombtc.com.
Thanks for answering that. So one thing I want to talk about and that I've heard of is the Bshare bomb pool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I can tell you're pretty excited to talk about that. Fill me in on all the details.
Yeah. So, I mean, our two original pools were, for anyone that's not aware, our two assets are BOM, which is paired with Bitcoin. And then we have Bshare, which is our share token, which is the token that is kind of like the protocol token. BOM is just geared to just peg to Bitcoin. So BOM is doing its job if it's staying, in line with Bitcoin, where when our protocol is in a healthy state, our share token is the one that's going to, go up a lot higher. So that's paired with BNB, the native token on the network. But what we did now is we had a governance vote to have a third incentivized pool and pair, which is BOM and Bshare. So that's our two assets, our two main assets of our protocol. A lot of our users, they just want exposure to our assets. So that lets them earn great yield and basically pair the two assets of our protocol. So, another thing that's good for is I've had a lot of requests for, why is Bshare not paired with Bitcoin? Because we have a lot of users that really like Bitcoin. But the thing is that, BOM is paired with Bitcoin because, it's pegged to Bitcoin. So it makes sense for that pair to be BOM Bitcoin. But Bshare, it's not pegged to anything. It's our protocol share token. So it made the most sense to pair it with BNB. But for those that don't want exposure to BNB, now they can jump into the Bshare BOM, and BOM follows Bitcoin. So it's essentially almost the same as having a Bshare Bitcoin pool. So it gives users that extra flexibility to say, okay, I want exposure to the protocol when the protocol is doing really well. I want access, I want exposure to Bshare, but I would prefer to have Bitcoin exposure instead of BNB exposure in addition to the Bshare, if that makes
I
sense.
think offering exposure to both is awesome. One thing that you had talked about is, kind of some of the yields. What could a user expect as far as some of the yields, or what could they anticipate, on the protocol?
Right now our yields our APRs are around the 0.5% per day. So 150 or so percent per year. That goes a lot higher if you're like in our auto compounders, because we're, every hour, every 2 hours, we're auto compounding the rewards. So it's growing, multiple times per day. And of course, every time it compounds, you're now earning on everything that's already been compounded. So the APY, the annual yield, is actually much higher than the APR when you factor in the compounds. So, but without factoring in the compounds, you're looking at like about 0.5% per day. And I think, in the future, it's probably going to stay around there or go higher, because that
That's how I
fluctuates
was
with.
just going to ask.
Yeah, it fluctuates with our Bshare price. Our Bshare is quite low right now. I anticipate it to go much higher, and when it does go higher, that's going to increase the APRs, because that's the reward token. So the auto compounder, what it's doing, it's taking the Bshare rewards, it's selling the Bshare, and it's buying the assets to make your position bigger. So the more, the higher value of Bshare, the more the auto compounder can, buy those assets back and, basically increase your position.
So I'm gonna put you on the spot a little bit.
Okay.
What's your goal for 2022 as far as the price of it? Where would you love to see it?
I mean, well, I'd love to see it at, over 6 digits. But realistically, I think that I think by mid-year we'll be somewhere in the 3,000 to 6,000 range, if not higher. It's our new UI is really going to focus on BOM BTCB, which again it's the pair that I really think that almost everybody should be getting into, especially newer users that don't understand all aspects of the protocol, and they shouldn't really be jumping into investments when they don't understand the risks of them. So with the new UI focusing on that main pair, it's going to strengthen our protocol, as well as it's going to get users into a safe investment that's going to earn them a lot of yield. So when that happens, we're going to be consistently above peg. That combined with numerous other things such as BTC mainnet staking, we're just going to have a lot of demand on BOM. So once BOM is over peg consistently, the share token will do incredibly well, as can be seen in some of the other similar protocols like Tomb Finance that we forked. Their share token bounces between 6 and 20,000, those ranges, and they're not always pegged either. So I think that we'll be able to maintain probably peg easier than they are. So I think 20,000 plus is not out of the question at all.
Awesome. And one thing I wanted to touch on that you had said that I can't preach enough is invest in what you understand, and invest in what you want to learn and you're continuing to learn about. So I love the fact that you had said that. I had a question for you. So you are limiting the Bitcoin staking to 100 in the first round, correct?
Yeah.
Explain that to me as maybe the methodology behind that.
Okay, so to answer that, I'll first step back a second and just say, like, BTC mainnet staking, it presented a lot of challenges, and that's part of the reason why it took so long to develop, because the most important thing for me is protecting our users' funds, protecting our users' investments. So we have our DeFi core protocol users that are using app.bomb.money on Binance Smart Chain. And there was a lot of ways to offer BTC mainnet staking that could have potentially put our core protocol users at risk. And that's something that I wasn't going to allow to happen. So we had to figure out a way to offer BTC mainnet staking and have it be beneficial to them and not risky to them, but at the same time, not risky to the core protocol users. So there's a couple different reasons why it's being limited. If too much Bitcoin came in, it could force peg to too high of a level. When I say too high, what would happen is, if Bitcoin mainnet staking, just say that we had a whale come in and put 500 Bitcoin in. If I was to put all of that to work right now and BOM BTCB pair, our peg would jump to like 5.0 or something crazy like that. I didn't do the math on it, just throwing out random numbers, but
no, for sure.
It would eventually drop back down. So all those BTC mainnet users that got in at those higher peg levels, they would actually suffer quite a bit of impermanent loss. And that's something that I don't want any users to, suffer, right? So it's especially a BTC mainnet user where they're not in control of it. They're not seeing what peg's at. They're not seeing all these things that are behind the scenes. So it's my responsibility, or the protocol's responsibility, to make sure that we get them into an investment at appropriate rates, or something that's most likely for them to succeed with their investment. But at the same time, having our DeFi users on Binance Smart Chain, having everything be safe for them as well, right? So
I think that's huge. There's not a lot of there's not a lot of CEOs and developers and projects out there that, there's a lot of projects out there that wouldn't take the end user and their security, and protect them the way that you guys are. So I think the fact that you guys have thought about that in advance, that you guys are doing it the right way, those are the type of projects that you want to be a part of, right? And I think that's
100%.
huge. And I just want to commend you guys for that, because as you guys know, there's a lot of good projects out there, but there's also a lot of bad projects. And so for the people that are listening to this, always do your own research and listen to what this man is saying, because what they are doing, they're building it the right way. And I can't commend you enough for that.
Yeah, let me give
So
you a little example. For example, like BTC mainnet users, a lot of like the Bitcoin maxis, they would want to, deposit Bitcoin and not have it go into a liquidity pair. So we could have potentially offered that, where we said, hey, okay, you deposit 10 Bitcoin and we're going to, we'll honor that and say, okay, so you have 10 Bitcoin and, we'll give you whatever APR. And then when they withdraw, we're going to give them that Bitcoin back. It's essentially what's happening right now. But if we had guaranteed that, then that puts the core protocol at risk, because if we drop peg for some reason, I don't anticipate that happening with everything that we have going on. But if that were to happen, it would put our current users at a lot of risk, because it would cause us to have to dump bomb in order to pay out that Bitcoin to these users. But right now, the Bitcoin mainnet users, they're getting this access to the exact same thing as what our core protocol users are getting, right? So it's a lot safer this way
well, and I
for
think
everyone.
it sounds like the users and the protocol, your guys' interests are aligned, right? And that's why it makes sense for both ways to do that.
Yeah. And as well, like to go back to like your previous question about the 100 Bitcoin, um, another reason for that limit is now we can have a round two where we can change things, right? So we can get feedback from the community and from our BTC mainnet stakers and say, hey, what did you like? What didn't you like? What would you like to see in the future? And I haven't gotten a ton of feedback yet. I mean, it's all been positive what I've gotten, but I haven't really had too much feedback about things to change. But I do know that a lot of users do want that straight BTC single side stake where it's not going into a liquidity pair, which with the stuff I was talking about earlier, we'll be able to actually offer that and offer that safely. So it puts nobody at risk. The core protocol will be fine. It'll benefit the core protocol actually. Instead of putting them at risk, it's gonna let the BTC mainnet stakers single stake Bitcoin, which can then be borrowed by our core protocol users. But with that gets a little bit more complicated, but it's going
No,
to
I
be
mean
safe for everybody.
the protocol is gonna scale organically and grow the way that it should, and it's not being forced. And you're not gonna have a massive whale come in there and disrupt everything, which is, for the majority of users is what you want.
Yeah. And as well, like, for our BTC mainnet stakers, we're putting a lot of Bitcoin to the side just so that we can cover any sudden withdrawals and not have it impact the protocol, right? So it's like all of the additional funds that, because we're doing a little bit of a reduced APR on the BTC mainnet staking. And so all that additional APR from the reduction is all getting put to the side. So now we have this stash of Bitcoin that's there and ready for withdrawals to, potentially not even impact the core protocol at all when somebody does a withdrawal. So this has all been, a lot of thoughts been put into it, and how we can offer this and have it be safe for everyone and have it be really rewarding for everyone.
Well, that's awesome. And once again, I wanted to commend you on what you guys are doing, because the more and more you learn about it, it really is a great project. And it's a great project with a great community. On your guys' last vote, almost 80% of the community that voted pretty much agreed, to for the large majority with the latest round. So, like, talk to me a little bit about that. Not only about the vote, but also the community, and just how kind of in tune they are with their interests being aligned.
Yeah, we have such a great community. It blows my mind every day how great our community is. A lot of users that are in the Tomb forks, well, I'm not sure if you're aware, but we were the first ones to fork Tomb, and since then there's
I
probably
wasn't
been
aware of that, actually.
yeah. So Tomb, I was in love with Tomb. I was playing around on Phantom, and Phantom's a newer chain, so a lot of the cool newer projects are on Phantom. So when I found, the first couple of times I saw Tuma, I was like, wow, this is paying so much. There's got to be something wrong with it, right? But after I kept seeing it over and over again, I finally did some research on it. I said, wow, this is pretty cool. This is legit. And, I made a ton of money with Toom, right? And I said, why is this not on any other chain? Like, why has nobody forked this? Why has nobody taken this and put their own spin on it, maybe put it on a bigger chain? And I said, hey, I'm going to do this. That's how it all came about. And now there's got to be at least 100 forks, if not more. And, we just launched late November last year. So it's, you could
But you guys were the first.
Well, we're the first to fork Toom. So I guess Toom was, I guess, technically the first, but yeah, we were the first to fork Toom. And now there's a 100 plus just, a short 2.5 months later. So we've kind of set the DeFi trend of 2022.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right. So speaking of 2022, give me your number one goal for Bomb or for the project in 2022.
Mass user adoption. Like we want our user base to grow into the hundreds of thousands, and we're going to do that with our simple user interfaces. We have, the marketing team that we're working with, they're second to none. They're great, and so once we have this UI in place where we can actually convert visitors, they're just going to go to town on it. And, it's things are going to blow up in a good way. So it's,
awesome. I'm looking forward to being a part of the journey. And I agree with you. I think simplifying is the key to mass adoption.
100%. It's so hard to convert users that when they're not familiar with Toom, with their current web interface. So, once that new web interface is released, we're going to crush it. No question in my mind.
All right. So now we talked about some goals, but what is one flaw or thing that it's missing currently that you want to improve on moving forward?
Well, mainly what I just mentioned about the UI and the ease of use. That is really like a huge flaw, and it bothers me every day when I visit the website, right? And that's why we're working proactively to get a new UI out as soon as we possibly can. But can't really think of much else besides that.
And for those who don't even know what a UI is, just simple terms.
Okay, so our website, our user interface, that's what UI stands for. So it's, our website is just, it's not, we've gotten a lot of feedback, and a new user that when they visit the website, they just see a lot of stats. There's no clear, okay, well, you can earn this and you just do this to earn that. Like, it's not simple like that, right? And that's the simplicity that we need. And that's, we've got a great plan in place that's going to do that and more. And it's going to,
so, I mean, you guys are,
it's going to appeal to all users. Like, it's going to, not only is it going to be simple for the first time users, but it's going to also have, everything that we currently have, but even some additional functionality, but just delivered in a way where it, it's sequential almost, where like it's, if you're a new user, you can just kind of dabble in it, and you can, earn good yield and good returns. But if you're more advanced, you can jump into some of the more advanced aspects of it.
So it sounds like with what you guys are doing, you're almost wanting to educate your users when they come to your platform, correct?
I'm glad you brought that up, actually. So 100%, yeah, we definitely want to do that, and we're going to do that with our new UI. But I even had some ideas that our BTC mainnet staking site could be almost the gateway to DeFi, right? So it's like someone that's brand new that doesn't want to set up MetaMask because they're worried that they might do something wrong and lose their money. Well, we'll give them something super simple to get started. Just sign up for an account, just like they sign up for any other website. Buy your Bitcoin right on our website, or just send it from an exchange. It's really simple. And in the future, we're going to let them take that position and move it to the Binance Smart Chain. So, and like I was thinking, almost like we could have like a bomb university or something like that, where we could just kind of teach them everything that they need to know. And once they maybe graduate, that's when we maybe give them a bonus, and we let them, we get them to set up their own wallet. And once once they've set that up, we can give them the option to transfer their position over to Binance Smart Chain. And I think
that could be game changing, because I was trying to explain MetaMask to my mom. Actually, she wants to get in on some crypto, and I mean, unfortunately, it's just not that easy, especially for someone who doesn't understand it or know it, and maybe just doesn't have the capabilities. So I think simplifying and educating is going to allow you guys to grow. and expand your
100%.
user base. And the more money that you guys have coming in, that's just going to do wonders for you guys. So I love the fact that you guys are even thinking about that and going down that route. But just talking, because obviously you guys want to scale. So who is your target customer? Who is your target community? Tell me a little bit about that person. Who is a perfect fit for Bomb Money?
Well, I'm going to talk about once our new UI is released, because that's going to be coming in the near future. Once our new UI is released, pretty much between bombbtc.com, our mainnet staking, and our new UI that's soon to be released, really our target market is really anyone that has a little bit of an appetite for risk, that wants to generate life-changing money, really. And it's something where they can start with a smaller position, and after they see what that does for them, they can increase their positions. And or compound interest is it's a pretty powerful thing, right? So it's people, even if they start small, if they stick with it long enough, that small investment can turn into something life-changing. So our target market's really just anyone that either wants to dabble in Bitcoin for the first time, dabble in DeFi for the first time, or even just the experienced user that just wants a rock solid investment that generates some yields that are not really found elsewhere, right? I mean, like you can find high APRs, but typically you're really worried that what you're buying to get that APR is likely to go down in value faster than you're earning your yield, right? So it's like that high APR number doesn't really mean anything if the underlying assets have the potential to plummet any day, right? So it's like the combination of the safety with the yields is what makes this so special.
For sure. And I just wanted to touch on this. Bomb Money is for everybody. Essentially,
Everyone.
especially with the new UI, it doesn't matter if you're an expert or a beginner. They are going to help educate you, simplify it, and help you earn passive income. I don't know what else could be better, because in today's financial world, in banks and other platforms, they can't even come close to DeFi what you guys are doing.
Yep, 100%.
All right, so this is my last question for you, Aaron, and then maybe we'll get into some comments from the viewers.
One more
But
thing real quick about what we
yeah,
were
go
just
ahead.
talking about. So on bombbtc.com, like I made sure that we had full support for our users, right? So we have live chat there. Like if a user, so even though we try to make the site as simple to use as possible, if someone gets stuck, live chat, you'll get somebody on our team right away, right? We have a full
Really?
support ticket system. We have a knowledge base. We have, we're doing this proper, right? We're a legitimate business, and we want to serve our customers as best as we possibly can. And, and the feedback that I've gotten so far, it's been incredible.
Yeah, that is huge. I'll be honest with you. I actually had a recent experience with I won't name who they are, but it's an exchange, and I tried, messaging them and emailing them and getting a hold of them, and I haven't gotten a response. It's been weeks, and
Wow.
unfortunately, I haven't had my issue resolved. So the fact that you guys are going the extra mile to do that for your users, I think it speaks volumes on just the way that you're building this from the ground up, and everything that you guys are doing aligns with wanting to grow your user base organically, educate them on how to win in the DeFi space. So props, man, props.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. So, all right, last question I have for you is,
Yep.
give me one piece of crypto advice and give me your biggest mistake in the crypto space, whether it could be related or not related to Bomb.
All right. Well, I mean, I used to make a lot of mistakes in crypto because, I'm just like a lot of the degens and DeFi. I like, get big returns quick. So, I do margin trading, which is pretty disastrous in crypto just because of how volatile it is. So, I got wrecked many, many times with margin trading. So I highly suggest against margin trading to anyone out there. But you know what? Like DeFi is just so great that I don't even have the desire to do margin trading anymore, because I can just say, hey, I can do something safe, or not that I ever had a problem sleeping because of investments. I got a strong stomach for that stuff, but yeah, like when you can earn the kind of returns that you can earn in DeFi without the risks of margin or any of those other things, it's incredible. So like the biggest mistake, definitely risky stuff, right? Like just margin, stupid. Like highly recommend
For
against that.
sure, for sure.
And the advice I'll give is, don't sell the bottom, don't buy the top. I mean, as
If we could all
it
live
sounds
by
obvious.
those two
Yeah,
mottos. No, but
it sounds
I think
obvious,
what
but
you
like, yeah,
no,
but
I
like
think
when
what
you
you
see
just touched
Bitcoin
on is
tumbling, like, Bitcoin's not going to zero. It's not, right. So if you agree with me on that, then when you see it drop, just look at that as a big opportunity. Don't look at that as a negative, right? It's add to your position if you can, and if you can't, just wait for it to go up.
for
Right.
sure. And I think that is amazing advice. It's the advice that I try to preach on my channel. And, I think people before DeFi, they had to do risky type stuff when you're talking about like margin trading for stocks or whatever to try to see these returns. And it's like DeFi is leveling the playing field, and we can actually see amazing returns without having to put ourselves in positions that we shouldn't have to. And so
Exactly.
I absolutely love that advice and what you guys are doing. So I just appreciate you having me on, and if we want to answer any questions from the viewers, we can start with
Yeah.
that.
Let's do that. Well, yeah, thanks. And again, thanks for coming. You had some really great questions, and it was really great, chatting with you about the project. Yeah, let's take some
Thanks, Aaron.
questions from our viewers. So, Static Warrior, will the Treasury buy back and burn bomb? So we've done that numerous times in the past. The Treasury right now is not in a position to be buying much bomb, but we have enough other catalysts that are you know already in place and coming up soon that will make that unneeded. So, but once we're back, above peg healthy, the Treasury will be diversifying its holdings to be able to, support the protocol in the future if it needs to. Peg has been moving. Question. Peg has been moving upwards. I don't see a reason why Treasury should buy back. Yeah, I agree. I
I
think
agree with that
actually
as well.
a mistake that I made actually the first time, because the Treasury did build up a lot of assets when we had our initial pump. We were the first Tomb fork, and there was a lot of excitement around that. So I made sure to diversify with the Treasury. It diversified quite a bit. It was holding all kinds of stable coins and Bitcoin and ETH and all kinds of things. And I think the mistake that I made is I probably did the buybacks too soon. So that's a lesson that I learned, and it's better to let natural forces correct when possible, and to save those for when they're truly needed. So so I learned there, and we'll be smarter with Treasury funds in the future. All right, let's answer this question. Is Aaron willing to make a guaranteed time commitment to this project even if it does not take off soon? At what point in the future will Bomb be given up on if not successful? I mean, this is my full-time job. This is all I do. I mean, I'm extremely confident that we're going to be successful, and we're going to do whatever is necessary to make it successful. And you can just look at the history of what I've done that shows that. After our initial pump, I and then we kind of started to decline. We went down to like a 0.5, 0.6 peg or so, and I broke like over $1 million of my farms to personally use my Bitcoin to push us back up. So like I had over $1 million that I could have said, hey, this is my money from my farm. That is not protocol money. It was my own money. That I didn't have to do that. But I care a lot about the success of the protocol. I care a lot about our investors and the longevity of this. And I'll do whatever it takes, whether that's using my personal funds, whether that's building whatever needs to be built. So as far
Well,
as time commitment, it's forever. Right? There's no limit.
And I would say, oh, go ahead. Sorry, Aaron.
Oh, that's all I was going to say. Just that there is no time limit.
I was just going to say, I think with the way that you guys are doing it, the way that you guys are growing organically, wanting to find the right users, wanting to protect your users, this isn't going to be a flash and dump. This isn't something that's just going to take off and skyrocket. This is, you're talking about long-term economical organic growth by doing it the right way. So I think that comment, take off soon, it doesn't really apply to your guys's method of how you're wanting to grow. I mean, obviously, yes, we want to grow quickly and as fast, but sometimes when you grow so quickly, you can't sustain it. So I love the way that you guys are doing it.
Actually, to add to that as well, so recently someone had mentioned to us that one way that we could potentially get back to peg a little quicker would be to introduce like an additional incentivized farm, which would be just a single asset bomb farm that would pay out in B shares, just like all of our other incentivized farms. But I really was against that because I mean, the whole purpose of those incentivized farms is to get additional liquidity to stabilize the protocol. So saying, hey, take your bomb out of our core pool and put that into something that really does nothing for the protocol and just earns B shares, that seemed like a very short-sighted hack of a fix. So I said, you know what, maybe that would get us to peg quicker, but we're getting there anyways. So you know what, I don't want to implement that, and I'm not going to implement that, right? You know, we're going to have single stake bomb, but it's going to pay APR from people borrowing that bomb. It's not going to pay B shares out of our core incentivized farms. We're not going to take away from that because our liquidity is extremely important, and we'll keep those incentivized farms highly incentivized without, you know, putting that towards anything that's not really beneficial to the protocol. So, you know, we're in it for the long run, and, you know, our community understands that. And, you know, it's something else I'll add to that is, you know, a lot of users in Tomb Forks, they're APR chasers. And, you know, with forks popping up every day, a new fork typically has a really high APR. So those users are just jumping around from fork to fork, and, you know, and a lot of them are getting wrecked when, you know, when they either rug or, you know, or the assets plummet because they don't have that solid community. You know, one of the toughest things with these seigniorage protocols is you need a strong user base. You need a community that believes in the protocol and that's willing to do things that are kind of for the better of the health of the protocol, not just for what's better for their own wallet, right? Like if everybody's just looking up for their own wallet, then, you know, which there's nothing wrong with that. You should be protecting yourself. But at the same time, for the longevity of the protocol, we all need to work as a team to say, hey, okay, bomb's under peg. It's not the best time to sell bomb right now. You know, and like our users get that, right? And that's huge. And that's why you can't have 100 successful forks, because there's just not enough community members out there that are going to say, hey, I love this protocol. I'm all in on this protocol, or, you know, and I'm going to do what's best for the health of the protocol. No, they're just there for a quick buck, right? And those people have been in our protocol and they've now left because there's higher APRs elsewhere, but, you know, those APRs aren't going to last, and oftentimes the assets are going to plummet, right? So it's yeah. So we're in for the, you know, natural growth and natural, you know, the only way I want bomb to go up is from natural buy pressure, right? Not from any kind of hack or, you know,
which is the way it should be done.
Yep. 100%. That's how it's sustainable long term. And that's, you know, that's how we protect users' funds, right? It's, you know, if bomb was at risk of plummeting one day, that's, you know, I couldn't recommend that to people, but, you know, I've got my family in bomb, I've got, you know, friends in bomb, and, you know, it's something that I can truly recommend and, you know, be confident in that recommendation. Right?
And be proud of it.
You'd be very proud of it. Yep. 100%.
There's a lot of people that, you know, I don't think you get enough credit. You know, there's a lot of crypto projects out there who you have no idea who the CEO and lead developer are. They're not doing AMAs. They're not, you know, answering public questions. And I would caution people to always do your own research and listen to what the actual, you know, where the project is going and how they're scaling, because if you're putting your money into it, you want to make sure that you're putting it wisely. So I can't commend you guys enough for what you guys are doing, man. Yeah.
Like I've heard some of the reasons why some teams don't dox, and, you know, they say like, you know, when negative things happen, you know, people start going after them. And, you know, it's something where I feel like if you're fully transparent with the community and the community understands that all of your actions are not, you know, for what's best for my wallet, it's what's best for the protocol and the protocol's users. And I've demonstrated that. Like, you know, you can see in the transactions, I've demonstrated that. I don't just say it, right? It's actually there for you to look at and see, right? So, you know, it's
yeah,
I forget where I was going with that, but yeah.
No, I mean, and that's the great thing about blockchain is you can see everything.
Yep. Got another question here from Static. You spoke about incorporating using the own bond. Did I say that? I mean, that's something that I think is something decent to do. For anyone that's not familiar, own bond? So I think he's referring to the bonding process where you provide an LP pair, and in return, well, it has to be vested for, I think the duration of the vesting varies, but somewhere between 3 to 7 days. And then what you get is you get the token from the protocol in return. at a discount. So just to throw a random example out there, if I put $100 of LP in and then I wait my 7 days, I'll get like $110 worth of bomb back, let's say. And that's something that I'd be interested in doing, but I don't believe that they're on BSC. The guys that are doing that, I think. Oh, that's Olympus Pro that I'm thinking of that does that. So I'm not sure if that's what he's asking. But yeah, no. As soon as something like that's available on BSC, I'd definitely be open to doing that.
Yeah, for sure. Is that it for the questions that we had?
We can see if anything else comes up. So Static says, big credit to you for answering these questions. Thank you. I do believe good things will come to you guys. Thanks, Static. Thanks for the faith. We're doing everything in our power to make that happen. Had 16 Bshare at one point. Going to be looking back feeling like, why didn't I just hold it all?
You got to hold it.
Don't tell me you sold the bottom.
Oh, no. We just talked about that.
He sold before the video, though. So
we'll go buy some more.
Not financial advice.
Thanks, Paul. I appreciate it. This is actually, I don't know if you knew this or not, Aaron. This is my first AMA.
Oh, awesome. Well,
yeah. So
hope you really enjoyed it.
Me, guys. No, yeah. I did. I really did.
Yeah, it's great. I love doing these AMAs and, getting to meet people and, talk about the project and answer your questions. It's a great experience, and the community gets to learn a lot as well.
For sure. And there's not a lot of projects that are doing it. And I think I feel like the ones that are the ones that I want to be proud of. They're the ones I want to put my money behind.
100%.
Apparently you're a legend, Aaron.
Thanks, all content. Anybody else have any questions for us?
All right, looks like that's it. So once again, Aaron, I just wanted to thank you for having me on here and giving me the opportunity to interview and ask you some questions. And once again, I know I've said it time and time again, but I love what you guys are doing. You guys are doing it the right way, and I just can't commend you enough.
Well, really appreciate that. And, I really, appreciate your excitement about the project and all, the kind things that you have to say about the project. So thanks for that.
Yeah, of course. I wouldn't say it if I didn't mean it.
Oh, thanks again, man. All right. Well, Friday, we do have our Twitter space like usual at 1 p.m. So everybody make sure to tune into that. And Andrew, if you can come, we'd love to have you. Twitter space.
Yeah,
Friday.
I will try to make it.
What happens when you run out of backgrounds? I get my graphics guy to make me a few more.